I've ingested and digested a lot of media in my day. Every genre of movie, manga, TV show, and book you can imagine. I've tried to do it all. And I think I can definitively say Berserk is good. Like, really, really good. Its art, unrivaled. Its world, dark, rich, and disturbing. Its characters, deep, flawed, and surprisingly human. Its story, unique, tragic, and beautiful. It's moved me to tears multiple times. It's had me leap out of my chair and howl with joy. It's filled me with disgust, fury, awe, and most of all, admiration. But if you're only partially aware of Berserk's existence, then you most likely only know a few things. 1. Big sword. 2. Angry man. And 3. Berserk is all of these things, yes, but it's much, much more. I've been following along with the releases of these deluxe editions, meaning I'm only 40% of the way through the series, but despite this, it's become my favorite manga ever. Maybe my favorite story ever. I spent a lot of time trying to decipher what about it has made me so passionate for it, and with the release of the 6th deluxe edition, I've finally decided the only way to figure out why I love Berserk is to analyze every character and theme in excruciating detail in a massive video series to end all video series. And the best place to start is with the man himself, Guts. Guts is our protagonist, and a damn fine one at that. His origin is as tragic as it gets, with every stage of his life having a heaping helping of trauma thrown on it. He's got one eye, one arm, one sword, and is waging a one-man war against all demon kind. When we first meet him in the Black Swordsman arc, we don't know why, and we don't really even identify with the guy that much. He's a cold, apathetic, cruel psychopath, and an over-the-top, edgy anti-hero to boot. And a lot of the Black Swordsman arc is a product of its time, being published in a 1990s Japan. But despite the edgy nature of the arc, and its protagonist, the story keeps the reader engaged by throwing you bone after bone of mysteries. First, you've got the mystery of Guts' body, the brand, the missing eye, the arm cannon, and his ability to wield the Dragon Slayer. Then you've got outside info that keeps your interest, like the existence of demons, the Behelit, and Puck. Then you've got Guts' motive, the number one thing keeping you interested in the Black Swordsman arc. Why is Guts angry man? Well, it's just that which sets Berserk apart from every other story out there. From here on out, I'm assuming you've read Berserk, at least through the Golden Age arc. So if you haven't, links in the description. Start from chapter A0 if you're interested. If you're not planning on reading Berserk but still want to watch the video, you won't be completely lost. But just go at least read up through the Golden Age arc, see what all the fuss is about. Guts and Griffith. Protagonist and antagonist. Brothers turned enemies. There's a lot going on between these two. Guts' entire world was destroyed by Griffith. The only friends he ever had, killed. The only woman he ever loved, raped to insanity. Griffith left Guts half-eaten and with nothing to live for. It's the lowest a fictional character could probably ever reach, short of death. But it's not Guts' way to just give up and die. He wouldn't have even met Griffith if that were the case. He's always fought. It's his nature. It's all he's ever known. Take a look at this scene. An arrow in his shoulder, 2 broken ribs, and major blood loss. He walks on, not knowing why. Even when attacked by wolves, even after accepting death, he fights. It would go against his nature not to. To struggle. That is Guts' most basic instinct, and his deepest motivation. Whether it's wolves, apostles, or the hand of destiny itself, he will struggle against it. Continuing with the scene of the wolves, he's pushing forward, one foot after the other. One sword swipe after another. Struggling. And this motivation carries him up until he joins the Hawks. For 4 years, he acts as a freelance mercenary, fighting for money. He's been struggling. Until he joins the Hawks under Griffith. And even in his first few days there, he can tell there's something special about the place. We see him talk with Judo after the night of his first battle, that maybe this is the place where he'd find it. The place where he belongs. Cut to 3 years later, and Guts clearly has become invested in the band. Casca's mere suggestion of him still being motivated by a desire to clash some swords sends him raging. When Guts decides to go and fight Zod alone, it wasn't because he was excited to fight some buff guy. It was to avenge his fallen comrades. Indeed, what pushed him to strike first was the sight of his dead friends, skewered on the end of Zod's sword. He's grown since he's joined the Hawks, and he knows it. He no longer fights just to fight, or for money, or for admiration. As much as I hesitate to say such a cheesy line, he fights for his friends. Now, his internal ambition to fight and to grow stronger is still present, it could never go away, but his priorities now put his friends first. It all comes to a peak after Guts escapes from Zod with Griffith's help. He asks Griffith why he would put himself in such danger just to save one soldier. Griffith, of course, does not need a reason to save a friend. This takes us to our next moonlit night of motivation, previously with the wolves and now on the roof of a castle. However, unlike with the wolves, Guts has an answer for why he will fight. For now he will wield the sword for his sake, for a friend. There are two key things to take away from this moment. 1. Guts has realized and is happy with fighting for something greater than himself, to be motivated by an external source, to fight for his comrades and for Griffith. The other thing to take away is, for now, he knows he needs something else. Fighting with such a grand cause doesn't feel right to him. He knows this isn't sustainable if he wants to be happy. Quick side note, these scenes are a big part of what makes Berserk so great. We get to spend extended periods of time just watching our characters think. It's like that scene in Star Wars, where Luke looks out upon the twin suns of Tatooine, and the music swells and you just sit there as your brain melts. It's intimate, quiet, and brings you in closer to the characters. It's beautiful. That night, when Guts checks in on Griffith, he's ordered to assassinate Count Julius. After some Assassin's Creed cosplay, he successfully infiltrates the Count's quarters and takes him down. The whole ordeal leaves a bad taste in Guts' mouth, and he's ready to leave quietly when he senses an intruder and strikes without hesitation. It was Julius's son, Adonis. He murdered him, an innocent boy. This isn't what he signed up for, and Guts is horrified at what he's done. And if you read the manga, you can really tell that this messes Guts up. He escapes the guards by fleeing into the sewers, but not before taking an arrow wound and a concussion. When he goes to find Griffith, he's stopped by Casca, because if he were to show up bloodied and bruised like that in front of the princess, it would be bad news. Guts stays, waiting for their conversation to finish before reporting to him. And what he overhears Griffith say to the princess shakes him to his core. He says this: "If there is a dream which takes one's whole life to find, there are also dreams which, like storms, devour tens of thousands of other dreams. With no relation to social status, class, or background, whether it suits them or not, people yearn for a dream, sustained by a dream, hurt by a dream, revived by a dream, killed by a dream. And even after being abandoned by a dream, it continues to smolder from the bottoms of one's heart, probably until the verge of death. A man should envision such a lifetime once, a life spent as a martyr to the god named Dream. Ultimately, to be born, and then to simply live for no better reason, I cannot abide by such a life." Look at Guts' reaction to this. It seems as though these words were meant just for him, the struggler, whose very existence is without dream. An existence where you fight for no other reason than to fight. The very definition of Guts. Griffith, the man which Guts just killed an innocent child for, the man for which he wields the sword for, cannot stand him. Griffith goes on, however, when asked about his friends. He says this: "They are excellent troops. Together we have faced death so many times. They are my valuable comrades, devoting themselves to the dream I envision. But to me, a friend is something else. Someone who would never depend on another's dream. Someone who wouldn't be compelled by anyone, but would determine and pursue his own reason to live. And should anyone trample that dream, he would oppose him body and soul, even if that threat were me myself. What I think a friend is someone who is my equal. Someone who depends on another's dream. Is that not the very thing Guts decided to do? To wield the sword for his sake? Take a look at the full-page spread we see directly after Guts hears this. Guts sees Griffith as something unattainable. Griffith is so much more than him. Griffith has a dream. Guts is hurt by Griffith's word, absolutely, they cut right down to the deepest core of him as a person, but he also now sees Griffith as everything he could never be. Someone with a dream, ambition, a goal. Yes, Guts has motivation, but he has never in his entire life had a dream. How could he be friends with a man who wishes to achieve such grand things as an entire kingdom? He's something for Griffith to look down upon. Another troop, not a friend. Just another troop. A valuable one, but, well, what's that even worth? We'll cover what happens next in the next episode. For now, I'd like to thank you all for watching, especially if you're someone I don't know. And if you like what you see, don't forget to subscribe and all that crap. It's a huge motivator for me, seeing people like my stuff. Regardless of what you guys say, there will be a part 2 coming soon, and a part 3 way later down the line. We're going to get back to some gaming content after part 2 with either a Dark Souls, a Hollow Knight, or a Mother 3 video. Drive safe and don't do drugs.